What is this thing called love, to begin with? As a noun, the dictionary defines love as an intense feeling of deep affection or a great interest and pleasure in something. As a verb, feel deep affection for someone, or to like or enjoy very much. Like when people say, I love hunting, I love fishing, they enjoy that hobby. They enjoy playing modern warfare. They love playing video games. But love shared with another human being or even an animal is a potentially magical relationship. Many people love their pets and even prefer them to human interactions. But truthfully, most animals often cannot reciprocate as strongly as another human being. I am sure that you have exceptions to the rule, but until you are legally marrying your Labrador or Golden Retriever, I shudder at the thought, I would like to focus on love shared between a human interaction. I'm reminded of a TikTok video that I recently saw yesterday where a man was trying to get his female counterpart in the mood, and the whole conversation that they were trying to get across in the video was how she was trying to make an excuse not to be intimate with him. Upon reading the comments, most of which spoke of female empowerment and how the man was disgusting for trying to get her to do something she clearly did not want to do, it sparked quite a reaction in me. Every woman deserves the right to not feel used like a piece of meat. I believe it, and I accept it like gospel. At the same token, a man deserves to know that he has value. A man must have value in a relationship. If you don't want to be intimate, that's fine. You have an absolute God-given right to never be intimate at all. In fact, I would even go one step further and say, feel free to come to me when you want to be intimate. I'm not one to beg, I'm not the kind of person who likes to beg. So, you know what? If you want to come to me, then come to me. If you don't, whatever. I'm used to not being intimate, so it's kind of whatever. Which it's just a horrible thing to say, but I mean it's just kind of whatever. I still have my stitches in. I'm still reeling from I had a umbilical hernia issue with a intestinal blockage. So I'm really probably not in the best shape to be intimate at all anyway. Cause it kind of hurts to still get up and, change my jeans and get into fresh socks anywhere where I'm kind of bent over putting a hoodie on or, putting my shoes on. It's still really, really hard to tie my shoes, but, it's one day at a time. I don't want to get too sidetracked. Let's say you were in a committed relationship and, back to that video, you're in a committed relationship and that conversation, hadn't taken place for 6 months. So, she says, I don't want to do anything right now. He says, that's okay. We're 6 months deep and, she's still kind of pushing him away. I don't know how realistic it is for me to not feel loved intimately and physically by my partner. What I mean by that is how does a relationship continue normally without any kind of physical interaction? That seems really foreign to me. It seems really bizarre. I mean, wouldn't you want your spouse to be, cuddle you, kiss you, hug you? Is that so much to ask? I don't think it is, but maybe I'm in the minority. I don't want to be in a committed relationship where my partner doesn't have a clue how I'm feeling, the level of my emotional stability, etc. I don't think some of these people truly grasp the concept of an emotional and physical relationship. Maybe they're, in a stagnating relationship and they don't even realize it. Can you imagine being so aloof that you don't even have a clue that, you're like your partner's, off by themselves and they're really feeling like a piece of crap? And you don't even ask them how they're doing? I shudder at the thought. Maybe some of these people have never been in a relationship like that before, and they just don't know how. Maybe this is like one of their first relationships they've ever been in, and they're about as romantic as a goldfish. And maybe that sounds cruel, but I mean, some of these people just have the romanticism of a dead carp in a shallow river. I mean, it's crazy. I try to bring the romance to the table. Maybe some of them have been damaged in a previous relationship and they are triggered by certain episodic moments in a relationship. Who knows? Who's to say? I don't think I would want to be in any relationship where I would have to guess where the relationship is at in terms of stability. I don't want to guess. You should know. You should know where you're at. If you don't know where you're at, you have a mouth and a tongue and words. You can speak on it. Say, hey, how are we doing? And there's no crime in asking. There is no crime in asking, hey, how are we doing? Well, what do you mean? No, not how do I mean? I'm asking you, how are we doing? Relationship-wise, how are we? You should have a general idea and just go from there. There's no crime in asking, When you have to beg your spouse or your significant other to touch you physically, or when to even simply ask for a kiss and a hug seems like a chore. I think we've arrived at a problem. When you have to make a point to say, hey, sure would be nice to, make love sometime, and they say, here, one of these days. Hey, it's been 7 months, it's been 7, 8, 9 months. I'm not going to stick around. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's reprehensible to be in a committed relationship and have the love of my life push me away. I think it's absolute bullshit, if you want my honest opinion. I would walk away. And you wouldn't get me to stop, because it's laughable to be in a committed relationship where you really feel like you're just not valued. It doesn't make any sense. I think there's a good number of people that need to step back and really identify where the relationship is and where it's headed. Because in this political climate, I think a lot of us are maybe are in denial. But at the same time, that I think a lot of us are really hungry for that love connection that maybe just isn't even there. If you're crying yourself to sleep at night wondering why no one loves you, and your significant other is somewhere else completely aloof, that's a problem. It's a major problem, and it needs to be dealt with. There's no time like the present to really attack the situation and say, hey, we need to sit down, we need to have a chat, and we really need to talk this out, because this is very, very important. I think we've gotten really comfortable as a society that we don't open ourselves up because we are unsure of an outcome due to being honest about where we are in this relationship. That's a problem. You lay there and suffer because you almost think it's better than the outcome of where the talking may lead. It's a possibility. I mean, you shouldn't be afraid of the outcome. If that's the outcome that you get, then maybe that's where it was destined to go. I really hate to say it, but that's me being honest. If you can't even ask your significant other for a hug or a kiss without it feeling like a chore, the relationship is in a dangerous place. No one should have to pretend that everything is great when it is not. We shouldn't have to wear masks in a relationship, and you shouldn't have to pretend that all is well when it is not. And sometimes when we take a break in a relationship, maybe it doesn't go the way that one of the parties expects it to. Sometimes that significant other feels as though you have moved on in finding this new person, but maybe that's not necessarily accurate. So let's say you took a break in your relationship because one of either you or your significant other needed some time to think. Time to figure it out, if as it were. And in that time frame, one of the parties found someone new within a couple weeks. She claims that you have moved on, but that's not the case. Instead, she didn't know how to give you any attention or affection whatsoever that you had craved for months or even years. And it's not that you even moved on. It's that you deserved, as a person, that emotional and maybe even physical gratification that your significant other either just couldn't offer, or maybe they didn't even know how to offer it. I'm not saying that your significant other has to be the most romantic person in the world, but for God's sake, you gotta know how to try. I think the biggest thing is you have to try. Put forth your best effort. As long as you try, I think the other person will always respect that you at least tried. I think that's important. That's so important. Put the effort in. Give a shit. Put the effort in and just put the effort in. I don't really need to say it more than that. Put the effort in. Put the time in. If you don't put the time in, then clearly it, keep, when your guy is, trying to cuddle up on you and you keep pushing him away, go ahead. Keep doing that shit, because you know what? Eventually he's just going to be like, man, she's a trip, man. She's a joke. Keep pushing him away. Let's see how far that takes you. You know what I mean? Keep pushing away on a person, because you know what? He's going to feel like a whole pile of shit every time you shove him away. And you know what? Maybe the first time it's funny. Maybe the second time it's kind of a little annoying. But the more and more that if you're in a committed relationship, I don't think you should be behaving like that. I'm not saying, again, you're not a piece of meat. I love women. I think women are just about on par with, God's greatest gift to mankind. But you got to meet us halfway. A relationship is always built on trust as well, but there is more than just trust that holds a relationship together. You need the glue, you need the cement that keeps those bricks together. Me personally, I crave closeness and romance, and I try to bring excellence in everything I do to the table. And to be fair, you have to bring something of somewhat equal value to the table, or that proverbial table becomes a bit of a wobbly table. There's 85% on one side and there's 15% on another. So you got to kind of meet me in the middle. 60-40, hell, 70-30. Give me something. Give me some semblance of form that shows that you love me, and that you're not just in it for the cash, that you're just not in it for the house. Not that that's the case for most of us, but, give a shit. Meet us halfway. Some of us are capable of loving someone else far more than we think we are worth. For example, I love my children 1,000 times more than I would ever even consider valuing myself. I would take a bullet for them, and I would gladly take their place. If there was ever any kind of instance where I had to die for them, I would die for them in a heartbeat. That right there, that's real love. That is real, concentrated love. A lot of people don't love that strongly, and you can't have self with real love. Real love is infinite. It doesn't cost. Doesn't cost anything. Doesn't have any kind of cost association whatsoever. It's infinite. It's forever. You give it of yourself. It automatically replenishes eternally. You can love your neighbor, your best friend, your grandmother, your parents, your lover. You should love your lover. If you don't love your lover, you got problems. Always love your lover. Your lover is worthy of the most love between you and your children. Your children deserve that fatherly or motherly love, but your lover is that romantic love. You need to know how to romantically love. I put a lot of weight. Maybe I'm the wrong one. I don't think I am, but there's something to be said about romantic love. You give somebody a box of chocolates, some flowers. Women love that. But, men, we don't really have anything that can be bought for us that shows us love. But we don't really require that. Just show us. I'm not even saying physically, intimately love, although we do appreciate that a good once in a while. But what I'm getting at is we really, really just want we want your time. We want your affection. We want your arm around us. It's just magical. It's just the magical melt of a woman's touch. There's nothing like it. There is no cap to how much you can love anyone. You set your own limits on love. And don't be afraid to love. Don't be afraid to love. Don't be afraid to step out there. I'm 40 at the recording of this podcast. And you know what? I used to really give a shit what people thought. I don't care anymore. And, I'm probably halfway dead or whatever people say. And I've just learned a lot about myself. Stop being afraid to love. It's so important. Stop what you're doing right now. Send an email, send a PM. Tell people that you love them. Don't talk about it. Be about it. Don't be a person who talks about it. Actions are stronger than words. Show it. Show your husband the affection that you never show him. If you're never physically intimate, maybe tonight would be a good night to put some music on and, have a nice dinner and put some music on and we're not talking about having sex. I'm talking about making love. Sex as sex is great, but there's something to be said about the romanticism of the making love, and it's just it doesn't compare to anything else. When you're in love with the person that you're sexually intimate with, there's just something to be said for that. There's just the romanticism of the beauty of being in love with the person you're physically intimate with. Don't emotionally encourage a man to walk away or cheat on you. Don't give him a reason. Show him you love him. Give a shit, Meet him halfway. I know, maybe some of you are thinking, oh, he will probably cheat on me anyway. And that's not fair, actually. In fact, it's absolutely not true. Don't give people a reason to walk away from your relationship. If you have a significant other who is likely to cheat on you regardless of how good you are to them, then nothing you ever do will be good enough for them. However, if you consistently push them away when they are merely seeking a cuddle or even a kiss, how long are you willing to hold out before they opt to walk away? For me, I'm not going to wait forever. I give a lot of chances, but I want you to be worthy of those chances. At some point, even the hardest people are going to break down and walk away. You stand to lose some of the best damn people you'll ever have in your life by being aloof to how you make a person feel. Defend him. Love him. If you don't show him love physically, then eventually he will find someone who will, and you will have helped cause that. A relationship is a two-way street. You gotta meet me in the middle. Don't make me do all the work. I wish I could remember which video that was that I had seen that I spoke of earlier, where the whole point of the video was thinking of ways and excuses to tell him that you're not in the mood. Women, you have a right to be heard. We men love you. And you are not merely a piece of meat to simply impregnate and bear our children. But I will remind you that suicide among men remains incredibly high. Why? Well, men don't have the luxury of being able to tell people how we are feeling. We bottle it in. So you didn't sleep with us for 3 months. Okay. Make it 6 months. You had a rough time at your job or school or law school or job, whatever it is. Understood. But if you're not going to hold me, kiss me, touch me, or talk to me like I'm literally your other half, is there nothing that's salvageable from our relationship? Was it all for nothing? We men try to be everything that you want, and obviously sometimes we get it wrong, but we have feelings too. Oftentimes just as strong as you do. I just want to ask you to never take for granted the romance, the smiles, and the butterfly kisses. They often don't last forever.